guys. What is up, guys? I am back. I am walking Kitty. And I thought I would talk to you guys for a minute, since in my previous video I mentioned that I was in recovery. I've not hid that on my channel. It's just that I have talked about it before, and then I just kind of go on about my life. So I thought I'd just do kind of like my sobriety story for you guys, just to kind of give you a little background in on me. So I didn't grow up bad at all. I grew up in a very loving family who gave me anything and everything I could ever want or need as a child. I often get questions when people find out that I am an alcoholic, grateful recovering alcoholic. They often say, wow, you don't look like that. Well, no. Alcohol doesn't discriminate. The big book says it knows no age, race, creed, religion. It does not care who you are. Anyway, I grew up in a very loving home, a very loving family. I had anything and everything I could ever want or need as a child. I was the baby of all of my cousins, so I was the baby of the grandchildren, and I got spoiled rotten. But I will tell you where my addictive behavior began, and that was in high school. I developed an eating disorder in high school, so I was never officially diagnosed, but I would have called myself anorexic, then exercise anorexic, and then that evolved into bulimic. So how that happened is I got sick my 10th grade year in high school, and I was fine before, but I got the flu and I was out of school for 2 weeks, barely eating anything. If you've ever had the flu, you feel like you're dying. And I guess I dropped probably like 10 pounds really quickly. I remember going to, God, that's loud. I remember going to the doctor to get my checkup, and I stepped on the scale and I was 116, but that was 116 with Timberland boots on, and I had overalls on. Yes, I had overalls. They were cute, but anyway, I probably had on 5 pounds worth of clothes. So all in all, I was probably like 110 if I had to guess. Extremely underweight for me. Well, after I got better, I went back to school, and one of the female coaches, and I won't say who it is or anything like that, she was not a coach of mine, but one of the female coaches saw me in the bathroom and commented on how amazing I looked. And I thought, I didn't know I looked bad before. So that evolved into me becoming a pretty much walking calorie counter. I can still to this day tell you how many calories is in certain food. Just because I carried my calorie counter book around with me, and I kept a journal. And I would not eat over 1,000 calories a day. And then, after I was finished with practice for my sports, because I played basketball, volleyball, I did summer league softball, track and field. I pretty much played every sport. The only thing I did not do was cheerleading. And after practice was over with, I would go back to the gym if it was still open, because I lived in a very small town. I would go back to the gym and burn 1,000 calories on the cardio equipment, which to this day I believe is why I absolutely detest cardio. Not only that, like, if I couldn't get to the gym, I would go downstairs in our basement, and we had a bike, a stationary bike, and I would ride that stationary bike for like 2 hours. Then on Saturdays, every workout video that I had, I did. So I literally worked out for like sometimes 4 hours straight on Saturdays. And, you know, my parents didn't really recognize that anything was wrong. I was just like, you know, I just love to work out and blah, 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 and I'm just healthy. And I was very good at manipulating and hiding my true feelings very well. Anyway, that kind of continued. I'm going to shorten this up some. It kind of continued and evolved. Like I said, eventually it evolved into exercise anorexia. Just kind of touched on that. And then when I proceeded into college, it evolved into bulimia. And then I kind of just, I don't really know how to explain it. I kind of just grew out of it and was like, I can't do this anymore. And yeah. So when I started drinking alcohol, I didn't actually start drinking until I was 22. And even then, I would do it to an extent, like an overextent, like any other person my age. You know, go out, have fun, you wake up with a hangover the next day, that type of thing. But, you know, now looking back at it, I never was a normal drinker. Like, if I was drinking to get lit, and to get lit as quick as possible. One sec. Sorry, ambulance just went by my apartment complex. So, but, you know, I could always stop. Like, it was just, you know, I'd do it on a Friday, Saturday, and then that'd be it. You know, on days where I didn't have to work. Then I moved away from Alabama, moved to Nashville. Still kind of continued that a little bit. But, I was dealing with like some deep depression that never really got treated. And I don't know, I would drink alcohol on the weekends, but again, it was always an overconsumption. I then eventually met a man, fell in love, we got married, and a year after we got married, like a month after our year anniversary, he asked me for a divorce. And I'm not going to go into details about that because it takes two in this marriage, and I made plenty of mistakes, as well as him. So we actually divorced on good terms. I have no ill will towards him. In fact, I wish him nothing but the best. And if I saw him today, I would probably hug him and ask him how he's doing and how his family is. His family's wonderful people. He's a good man. I hope he's doing well. But I felt like a complete and utter failure. And I felt terrible about myself. I felt terrible for the mistakes that I made in the marriage, and was constantly guessing on how I could have done things different. Anyway, that's when I really started drinking throughout the week. I remember going and buying a half pint, and I think I drank half of it the day that he asked me for a divorce. And then kind of from that point forward, like I said, it just kind of evolved from there. And then over the span of like 2 years, I just progressively got worse and worse and worse, to the point of I was a functioning alcoholic, going into work, all this kind of stuff. Now, there would be days where I would drink at work. I would, this is how sad this is. I would go to McDonald's and get like their biggest size Diet Coke. I'd drink half of it down, go to the liquor store on my lunch break, buy some minis, buy a half pint, pour that in my drink, and drink at my desk. Dude, it was so bad. Anyway, I left that position, and not long after that, things just got worse and worse and worse. The guy I was dating at the time ended up getting my family involved, and my family came and got me and said, just come stay with us for a while. You know, let's try to do this. So they tried to keep me away from alcohol, and it didn't work. I ended up being hospitalized several times, and I didn't know this until just earlier this year, but I was literally on death's door. My blood alcohol level the last time I was in the hospital was a 0.528. Guys, I should have been in a coma and had brain, what am I trying to say? Brain injuries. Like, I should not be here. So when I woke up, they had packed my stuff and said, you're going to rehab. I did not want to go, but I went. And when I went there, like a few days after being there, I was like, you know what? I really need to, like, try to do this. And I did, but when I got out, like a week later, I relapsed. And that's all the year of 2015 was for me, was one big relapse. I kept relapsing and relapsing and relapsing. I'd go into treatment, come out, try to get my shit together, and relapse, you know, 10 to 15 days later. Like, I just couldn't get my shit together. Finally, I got pulled over for a DUI and got put in jail. Not one DUI, but several. And that is when I got put into recovery court. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to, like, actually do the things that I needed to do to take care of myself and to also take care of my legal issues. Through that, I also found my work at Recovery Community and what my true passion is, and that's helping people. Now, I went through this program. I graduated. After I graduated, my boyfriend and I decided to move to Las Vegas and to try to start fresh and to start over. Well, we moved out, and it was a rocky start to begin with. I've mentioned to you guys before that I accidentally stabbed myself. Well, I did it 3 days after I got to Vegas, which should have been an omen, I guess. So I was cutting open sorry, my timer went off. 1 second. I wasn't cutting open. I was trying to put together a shoe rack, and I was cutting a zip tie off of it. And the way I was nailed down, I ended up getting, like, some serrated edges at the end of the knife stuck on the zip tie, and I kind of jerked it, and when I did, it came back and went into my leg. Worst pain I have ever been in my life. Again, almost died. Was like an inch from my artery. Had to go and get stitches. For 3 months later, I dealt with a bruised leg that was bruised literally from my hip to my foot. I'm not kidding when I say that. I will try to find a picture and post it in here. Not only that, the guy I was dating, my boyfriend at the time, was going through some stuff personally. And neither one of us were just in a really good place mentally. So he ended up deciding, you know, it was going to be best for him to move back to Nashville. And I encouraged him to come and said, you know, let me try to get some money saved up and this and that, and then I'll come at a later date. And about a month after he left, I relapsed. And I relapsed hard. So it's like I just completely started over at where I left off. And I don't know why I thought I could do it. I think I thought that I wasn't really an alcoholic and I was going to be okay and all this kind of stuff. And I was not. It's like I immediately just picked up where I left off. And I went back to drinking the same amount as I had left off with. But not only that, I was drinking more. Like, I was drinking 100 proof vodka. Like, the higher the proof, the better. What could get me there the quickest? Dude, I just went down a slippery slope from that point forward. So, finally, I ended up, my grandmother, who was my ride or die, I was her baby. She was my person, you know. She was such an awesome woman. Never judged any of us grandkids. Always just wanted to help us. Always loved us no matter what. I mean, she was just, dude. I hope that I can be half the woman she is. She ended up getting put in hospice. And at that point, I said, I got to get my shit together. I literally loaded my car down with everything I could fit in it, and I left. And I drove across the country to get back to Tennessee, to get back to Recovery Community. The associate director, who is now my best friend, was like, look, Casey, just come back and let the people who love you love you. And the director said the same thing. Like, she was like, just come home. Like, it's fine. You know, but I felt like a failure. So, I get back to Tennessee, and I just start back on this path again. So, I lose everything, not only once, but twice. Literally everything. Like, I had nothing to my name except what I had in my car. And I had went down such a bad path in 2015. I had nothing to my name then. Like, I lost everything, guys. I mean, So, how I got back on track and how I'm staying on track now, I literally set and made a timeline of where I went wrong. And where I went wrong was I slowly let my recovery drop lower and lower and lower on my priority list before it didn't even exist anymore. So when I relapsed and I came back the second time around, I said, can't do that again. No matter what, my recovery has to stay number one, or I lose everything else. So that's what I've been doing. And guys, I've literally got everything I could ever want back and more. I know I'm struggling with like a difficult situation right now, which you guys heard earlier. But all in all, I mean, I have my own place again. I got my own stuff. I'm self-supporting. Like, I don't need anybody's help with anything. Like I mentioned in previous videos, I have all my debt paid off except for my student loan. Like, I got a pretty dang good setup. And, you know, even though grant money is running out for Recovery Community, I now work for the place that helped me. The majority of my clients, 95% of my clients, are in recovery. I don't work for, I mean, don't get me wrong, I got to pay the bills, but I work for satisfaction of my soul. I work for service work. I want to help these other people in recovery live their best life. And part of that is being healthy. Now, I've got clients that aren't in recovery too, but the bulk of my clients are. So, you know, that's pretty much it. That's my story. I welcome any questions that you guys might have. One question I often get, again, let me just say this again, is what happened to you? Look, I have a degree. I have double certifications. I'm a smart girl. I'm a smart cookie. I know I'm a smart cookie. I got a lot of things going for me. I am just simply an alcoholic. I cannot tolerate alcohol whatsoever. I can't. One drink and I'm done with. My brain flips a different switch. And let me tell you, it is a disease. Because the minute I take a drink of that is the minute my life ends. And I'll tell you this, I can't go down that path again. I don't know if I'll make it. And I don't want to have to think about that, and I don't want to chance it. And I got too much good shit, too much good people around me, too much good things going for me to screw that up. So, anyway, guys, that's my story. That's me being vulnerable and kind of opening up. If I can help any one of you out there, if you're struggling with anxiety or co-occurring disorders, if you're struggling with addiction or alcoholism, I am here to help you. You can comment, you can message me. I will talk to you. I will be your friend, whatever you need. So anyway, guys, that's it. That is my sobriety story. I know this was long, but I hope maybe you guys can get some strength, hope, and inspiration from it. Have a blessed day.